We're rolling.
All right, give me a little money right.
Can we just get into it?
No, I want to have music. You're acting like Josh Adam Myers now.
What, impatient?
Yeah. It's not going to work, dude.
I was getting into that. I was about to throw down some
He gets fucking ads.
That was
now.
the ad, too.
Bro, don't
I was like, ooh, I like this jam.
Don't trip. We're just fucking with you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On the Gate Podcast. Derek Drescher, my friend, everybody knows him, loves him, world-renowned homosexual, Gio Perez. Gio, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good.
Just me slurping cum.
Whacked on edibles. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to the sounds of Crackamico in the back. It's a little money right. Shout out to our new patron members. I said we call everybody out every week. Newest members, Benny the Jet at $5 a month. And then S.A. Ramos at $5 a month. No, shut up. I do. And then Classic Uncle. I'm going to say the price now or what he's donating now because this is where you all need to be. Classic Uncle has upped his monthly contribution to On the Gate to $25 a month. Clap it up for Classic Uncle.
And keep it clapping for the fact that you guys get nothing for Patreon.
Well, listen, I've been trying to...
It's literally digital robbery. But we tell them, you're not getting anything. You're just giving us money.
Yeah, that's what I've tried to talk to Jill. I'm like, let's maybe do a rap song, something. Jill's like, nah, fuck that. $25,000. Once we get there, you'll get extra content. And joining us today... Good friend of me and Gio's, everybody. Welcome, Joe List.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yes.
Oh, God, my hair looks outrageous.
I didn't want to say anything. Move here.
Well, look at
There
this.
you go. There you go.
You don't even really need them,
There's
Joe.
that- there's
there's
that
There's
stud.
the locks.
Oh,
There
that's
you
the
go.
moss right there.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. That's that,
That is
Edward
beautiful.
Norton right there.
I mean, that is spectacular.
Everybody
camera
tell
should
you
I
look like
at?
Edward Norton?
Every once in a while, here and there, not a lot. I get a lot of junk, Cusack, and a lot of just like
right.
fuck retard piece of shit. Like it's mostly there'll be people. I get the guy, the meatball sub guy, whatever. He's friends with Chris D. His name's
Coog,
yeah.
or some shit like that.
Yeah, about 7,000 people have sent me that guy's video. And then there was like another guy working out in the gym. He's like a little person that they sent it. And that was a new guy. I get called an ugly piece of garbage every day, all day.
Yeah.
But by the way, the Patreon, that's how it started. You donate money to a show you liked.
Right.
Yeah.
And then someone fucked all of us by
Right.
being like, I'll give you extra content if you give us money. So now we all have to do extra content.
Right.
Before it was just the show is free and we'll give you money because we like the show.
It's crowdsourcing. That's what it was
Yeah.
like originally for. And we're going back to the roots of that. And then maybe one day we'll give you something.
Yeah, our first tier is just general support.
Yeah.
That's what we call it.
I like
We
that.
get nothing.
Because the show, people forget the podcasts, they're free.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this one, it's free, right?
YouTube,
Yeah, it's free. It's
Yeah.
free.
We're
I mean, we
still-
make a couple bucks off of ads. a month,
A little $15 a month.
I mean, we have overhead, fucking Natalie, and then this fucking
But she's great overhead.
this
though.
fucking
We
guy
love
she
Natalie.
fucking
Thank you.
brought
Thank
in
you.
for the fucking.
Natalie's
the
worth
day.
every single $20. we
Natalie
pay
is
her.
Yeah.
underpaid for sure, 110%. Natalie, do you feel that you're underpaid because you're a woman?
No.
No?
I feel like I get paid more than a lot of people at Gas Digital.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
throwing
but
down the
but I've
mom.
been
drama.
here for a long time. I feel like I've earned it.
That guy started nodding. Do you not get paid?
He's
anything?
been here for about 4 seconds.
Okay.
Now, Dylan doesn't get to speak on the
Yeah,
podcast.
he just blew himself on skanks and ended up here. That's his.
Wait a second. You put your penis in your mouth?
No.
Oh, all
Oh, I
right.
thought that was like the
That's
only way you
Byron.
can get in now. I thought after Byron, that's the only way they can hire interns
So-
if you could blow yourself.
He was the only one that could do it. They haven't been able to find someone to replace that skill.
Byron's got a fucking hog on him. So this is the thing, Joe. I don't know if you heard about this. I was at the stand one night. This is before they had the curtain, right? I was eating my dinner, and I looked to the left, and skanks is happening, and I see a guy. Was that autofellatio when he filleting himself?
Wow.
blew
yeah.
himself.
I would love to do that. Because that was when I was a kid, that was like a big thing. If you could suck your own dick, would you?
Jesus,
Yeah.
was it really?
Yeah, everyone would ask that. And I think I would.
I
I'd love
can't,
it.
but not because of the size, because I'm just not flexible.
Yeah, I don't think I'm flexible. I have too many ribs.
Yeah, I'm too long. I'm all.
You're all torso.
Yeah, I'm very long.
So that's out in you grew up in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
That was the thing guys used to do in the high school, was suck their own cocks.
No, that was just the thing they would ask. It would be like, I don't know anyone that can suck their own. But
one person, their logic was this. He's like, it's not gay. He's like, all right, would you jerk off a guy? No.
No.
But
But
would
you
you
jerk
jerk
yourself
yourself
off.
off?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Because
It's
nobody
not gay.
knows me like I know
So would you
myself,
blow
yeah.
a dude? No, but would you blow yourself?
Yeah.
It's not gay.
I also wouldn't take food and put it in another man's mouth because that's gay. But I eat. You know what I mean? I wouldn't
want
rub
some
someone's
cake?
feet, but I rub my own feet. I put my thumb in my own ass.
Yeah, I scratch my ass sometimes. I would
Yeah.
never
Yeah,
scratch
when I
other
wash
guys'
my
ass.
all 4 of these fingers go in when I wash. Yeah.
My buddy's got a great story. He works for, I don't want to give too much away, but he works for a company, and his company went to see like the big head guy. And this is like a huge like international company. And they met and talked to him. He was like at a big table and they're all in suits. And later they were like, let's go out for some drinks, you know, we'll put down the spreadsheet and have a couple cocktails. And I guess this guy who's like a big wig got hammered and he got up on the table late. This is like hours later. He goes, I can suck my own dick. And he didn't take his pants down, but he bent over and just put his face in his own lap.
Wow.
And was like, and everyone.
Was this Disney?
No,
Sounds like Disney.
I wish it was Disney. No, but I was like, it was a crazy story. But this
Yeah.
guy just had too many cocktails, and he just wanted everyone to know he could suck his own dick.
I mean, that is boss.
That's a power move.
That's
an
power.
alpha
That's
move.
a power.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
He's
he's
like,
let
can you
everyone-
suck your own cock? No.
That lets you be known that you don't need nobody.
Yeah.
You don't need nobody.
Self-sufficient.
Do you think you would do it if you could, though?
I mean, I've tried, but I couldn't reach.
Natalie, do you think there's women out there that could go down on themselves?
Yeah.
Oh, they're out there.
Yeah,
They're
you never
probably
watched
in
the
like
videos?
Cirque du Soleil or something. But
Just go on xvideos.com and put.
No,
your
no,
elixir
don't
self,
pull that
and
up.
it-
Don't pull that
You
up.
can.
Well, it's harder for women because a dick comes to you.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. It protrudes.
Yeah, a pussy's
Yeah.
much lower. And it's also just lower on the body.
Yeah, and inside.
It's like, how you can't find the G spot on yourself, bitch.
I think if I could, I would have, but I wouldn't make a habit of it. I got a wife.
Yeah, I feel like the buyer's remorse would be terrible afterwards. It's just sitting there, just like, no, I had my own, like a dick in my mouth.
Yeah.
Even though it was my own, but it was just like, I tasted cock.
Yeah. Well, I think cock, if you shower, cock probably tastes similar to like a finger or arm.
It was like sucking your thumb as a child.
Yeah.
So I'm just blowing myself and like rubbing my ear and shit
Yeah.
for coziness.
It's not the cock in the mouth, it's the cum in the mouth is what I'm opposed to.
Yeah, because like I've
Yeah, but
like,
dude, it would
touched
get
cock-
worse. Imagine you start sucking your own cock, then you're pinching your nipples while you fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Wait, you've never done that?
Fucking-
You've never bent over in front of a mirror and looked at your asshole and
shoving a
jerked off?
fucking
You
butt
never-
plug up your ass, all that stuff. It just gets worse and worse and worse. You're fucking riding a Sibian while you fucking do
What's
it.
that?
The Sibian was that machine they used to have on the Howard Stern show. You remember that thing?
No, I don't know the
that?
Sibian.
So it was like it looked like a horse saddle, but it was electronic,
Oh,
and they would put attachments on
Was
it.
that the one from the Gillian Keeves thing? The
Something
OnlyFans
like
dad?
that. Yes, yes. He was riding it in his ass. But yeah, so they would have porn stars come on, and he would interview them while they were riding the Sibian. There it is, right there.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's from
Howard Stern.
OnlyFans dad, whatever.
Yeah.
They also did the movie Burn After Reading. Did you guys ever watch that movie?
Yeah, with Brad Pitt.
It's great. Yeah. He's the guy. George Clooney's building one of those. It's got a big fucking.
Crank and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was it like a manual one with a bicycle?
No, it was. I don't know how it worked, but it was a huge dildo and you'd sit in a seat and it would fuck you.
Yeah, in porn,
Great
you've
film.
seen all types of contraptions. Where I'm like, what the fuck?
Well, the best one I've ever
jackhammer
seen was
dildos.
the construction girls with the sawzall with the cock on the
Yeah.
end of it.
Oh, I like that.
Bzzz, yeah, the jackhammer. Up the,
all the like the toy shit, and every time like I
The
see
torque
somebody
drill.
suspended in something, I'm like, oh, I'll skip that.
I mean,
I
that
feel like
could-
there's gonna be something weird there.
that shit could get dangerous, though. You know what I mean? And I don't watch that stuff to enjoy. I watch out of the fascination.
No, I don't like it. It just reminds me that the robots are taking over. Like I just feel like they're gonna add AI to those fucking robots, those sex robots. That's next.
I mean, a sawzall feels real dangerous.
Yeah.
If it comes through the.
Yeah.
Well, they take the blade off and then have the
Oh, I
attachment
see.
with just the cock.
I thought they just put the cock on the blade. 'Cause I'm like, if the thing just breaks apart, that's trouble.
it just cuts through. Some people do probably do
Insurance
that
would be
too.
high on that set. It'd be
Yeah.
high insurance.
Some people are like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna take a little risk.
Now, Joe, you grew up in Massachusetts, right?
Yes.
Boston,
South of Boston, about 35 minutes south of Boston, Whitman, Massachusetts.
Whitman, Mass.
Birthplace of the chocolate chip cookie.
For real?
Yeah, you can look it up.
That's quite a fucking. That's quite a creation to have for a city.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Now, did you get in a lot of trouble when you were younger, or no?
No, I was not. I was not a troublemaking guy. I was afraid of trouble, even when I was a fuck up lunatic. I was still afraid of getting trouble. I was always scared of getting in trouble. In fact, like when I was like boozing, I would drive with someone who was drunk just because I didn't want to I was afraid of getting arrested. I was never afraid of dying. But like as a kid,
You're like, I want to die. Arrest, no.
But as a kid, I wasn't. No, I was like I was very quiet. I was what do you call, like real introverted. They had to send me to like therapy. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I sat with my hands folded.
Really?
Yeah, I was a real.
You're on some psycho shit,
Yeah,
right?
I was just a maniac.
So what saved you from like shooting up the school? What was like your?
He didn't want to He want to go to jail.
Well, this was in the '80s. There was no shooting up. I mean, that didn't happen until high school.
Right.
Until like Columbine was like my junior. I know that wasn't the first school shooting, but that was the first. Big
one.
That was the first. Big one.
Were you excited about that one? Like, yes, finally.
It was crazy. It was definitely like, oh shit, that's wild. But even then, it was like a one-off. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is gonna happen. This is crazy.
Yeah.
But you guys are like my age, right?
I'm 41.
Yeah, I'm turning 41 in a few weeks.
All right, I'm 36.
Oh, okay. So
I
you
was
kind
a
of
little
grew up
younger.
more with it. Yeah.
I was probably like when you guys were in high school. I think I was like in junior high. Probably.
Yeah.
When Columbine happened, I'm pretty sure Eminem had already gotten big because he started to talk about it right after it happened, right? What year was Columbine? 99?
Columbine was in April of 99.
99?
Yeah,
Eminem
he
was
came out in 99.
around that time. Yeah.
Slim Shady LP.
But
Good times.
But yeah, I wasn't much of a troublemaker until late. And then, like my senior year in high school, senior year, I started to cause like fun trouble. I would skip class, and one time we like went into home ec, and I stole an egg, and then I went to the gym and stole cones, and I dropped an egg in the middle of the courtyard and put cones around it. And so all day, everyone was walking around just being like, I guess this is here for a reason. And that was like, I would do stuff like that. But it wasn't like...
That's crazy.
It wasn't like... It was just weird shit. And like one year, me and my buddy, we stood all day in school. We'd go out, because we had like a courtyard, which sounds nice, but it was shitty. It was just the design of the school. And we protested for leap year to be every year. And we protested 1 more day equals 1 more day. Make February 29th every year. So I would do like silly shit that even teachers would be like, all right, guy, come on, guys. Get to class, you fucking idiot.
Those are pretty quirky, though. Like, they're smart. So you were in the protesting...
Yeah,
early.
But it was, and then like one day I would I'm gonna sprint from one class to the next all day. So I would be like bombing down the hallway and stuff like that. And I'd paint my face for football games. I was like a goofball.
So you totally broke out of the introvert and started getting wild.
Yeah, high school. I think high school I started.
Did you start sipping at that time too?
No, I didn't drink till after school. I was really petrified of alcohol and drugs and smoking.
So you were just sober all through high school.
Yeah, and I hung out with buddies that like they would smoke and drink, but I was like, that's not for me. I'm an athlete, and my family was all heavy drinkers.
Oh,
so
you were an athlete?
Yeah.
Track?
Yeah, track and cross country and baseball and basketball. But then I was a bad student at first. I failed off the track team, and I was a big baseball guy. But my freshman year, I had become ineligible for sports because I failed. I looked like a smart guy. I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah. and I hated school and all that shit. I hated homework and that stuff. So
you were like a jock in like the body of a nerd, basically.
Yeah, which is very hard to still convince people of. Yeah,
because
don't
you do like jujitsu or boxing or something? You're you've been doing it for a while now.
I did mixed martial arts. I haven't been in a little while, but I did it for a couple years with Diego Lopez. You guys must know Diego.
We've
trained.
Him
we met him at Skankfest. Yeah. He was training. I forget who. I think it was Harrington.
Yes. Yeah, he's awesome. So I did that for a while, but yeah.
Now, when you were playing baseball, there was a lot of pranks in baseball. Were you doing shit like that during baseball too?
Yeah, we goofed around a little bit. Nothing crazy. I never played at like a very high level because high school, that's what I was going to say. I failed off the track team, and so I was ineligible to try out for the baseball team. My track coach liked me, and he's like, you can stay on the team. You just can't compete. So it allowed me to be like, all right, well, I'll be on this team that I can be on. Because baseball was like, you can't try out. You're not eligible, you fucking moron.
Yeah. Fucked up.
He's like spiking the drinks with steroids and shit. That's my prank.
The Gatorade.
So that's how my baseball kind of ended. And so I just became like all track, cross country. But yeah, no, I can, I'm a very good golfer. I'm very good at the softball. I play basketball. I also got a fair amount of pussy. I feel like I go to the gym. I don't know. People really think I'm a cuck nerd fucking loser.
Yeah. I never thought that about you.
You know what I like about you is like when you go on the road, you always talk about like you go to a city, you'll actually do shit.
Yeah.
Every time I go to city, I'm in the hotel the whole day just
Yeah.
sleeping, and I'll plan these things, but then it just never happen.
Yeah, I've gotten. I used to be like really good about, especially when I was like featuring, because you're not
Yeah.
doing as much work. But now I'll try. I'll go to a lot of museums and shit. I'll go to the movies. I'll find whatever, a basketball court or something to go do, or I'll go to a lot of sporting events. I'm a big
Right.
sports dork.
We should do that more when we go out. Bro, we draw the fucking blinds till like 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's no good. You gotta live. You gotta get out there. Get some daylight, some vitamin dizzle.
It's so funny because Aaron, we went around the road with Aaron. He's like, "This fucking hotel sucks." And we were both like, we kind of like it.
This
actually."
is pretty nice.
Yeah,
I was like
this is-
walking in like,
yeah, and he's like, "Because you guys were in fucking prison. This is fucking horrible. This
Well,
place."
I look
Aaron
like Kevin
Berg?
McCullister. Like, wow.
Yeah, we're
This
like, wow, look at this place. It's so nice. Fucking, because they have like paper mache fucking decorations and
is-
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a
Berg,
model.
he's got a taste for the finer things.
He
Aaron
do.
Berg, yeah.
He do. Berg
Yeah, I
flies
think-
helicopters.
Yeah, he took like a helicopter out to Long Island.
No, he from Long Island
From
back to
Long
Jersey.
Island back to Jersey.
Yeah.
Gee whiz.
From Tim Dillon's fucking
What?
party last year. Yeah.
What's he selling? Drugs?
selling jokes.
Yeah.
So you went to college and then you started boozing.
No college. I didn't go to college. I'm
Get out of here.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
hard to believe.
No, I went. I didn't even. I almost said audition. That's how stupid I didn't apply to a single college. I had no interest in it.
Really?
I really hated school. I hated
school,
answering to people and a schedule and all that shit. I didn't like it. I liked school. I liked seeing everybody and hanging out
Yeah.
and all that shit and lunch and the track team and all that stuff. I liked being around
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But the idea of like writing a paper, I fucking hated it.
Yeah,
On some shit that you didn't want to write about.
Yeah, I just had no interest, and I wanted to do comedy. When I was in high school, I was like, I'm going to be a comedian.
Right.
So college just seemed like a big waste, and it seemed like a lot of money, and I was like, I'll just do the drinking and sex part. That seems better. So I didn't do any of that.
So what came first, the comedy or the drinking? What was
Comedy. And when I first started doing stand-up, I was 18. I hadn't drank, and I had this thing of like, I'm not going to drink before I go on. I'm going to approach it, whatever the fuck. And that went on for like 4 or 5 months, and then I started drinking, and then I was like, well, I'll drink before I go on. And then I was like, let me see how fucked up I can get for this set.
Then you would go up smashed.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah, it was fun.
That's kind of like you now.
No, I don't drink before I go up.
Jill's like, yo, I'm off heroin, but I got these motherfucking hash brownies, kid.
I don't like brownies either. I like gummies. Gummies or just regular pot. Like dabs. Have you ever smoked? You smoked pot before,
Yeah, I
right?
smoked pot. Yeah, but not. I
Not
tried-
this shit now.
I tried it as a joke.
No,
I mean,
dude.
now they got all kinds of.
Yeah,
Bro, my
yeah.
cousin Tommy was staying with me. Like after the last program I got out of, he needed a place to stay for a little bit, and he was smoking the fucking moon rocks.
Yeah, it's just weed with more weed laced with weed
It's
oil
just like these
and then
yeah.
dipped. It's they take a
And they-
nugget of weed and then they take the oil, like the extract of the weed, and they dip it in there, and then they roll it in the crystals, the THC crystals that fall off the plant. So it's almost like a sugar glazed munchkin of weed.
Yeah.
And you eat it or you smoke
No,
it?
he would
Smoke
smoke.
it,
They like
and it's-
set it on fire with a torch,
Yeah,
dude. And
it's-
he would
it's
smoke
insane.
that shit, and he would be in another fucking
Yeah,
world.
The
man.
rapper Corrupt from Dog Pound, that's his thing. That's his creation.
Really?
Moon rocks, yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah, Tommy would smoke that, and he would drip it like there's a
It's-
resin
it's-
that
yeah, it's
drips
a
all
s-
over the floor.
It's
and
a
shit.
certain it's a certain strand. It's Girl Scout cookie weed, and it's Girl Scout cookie oil and keef.
Have you done that before?
Hell yeah, bro.
You like it?
Yeah, dude, it fucks you up. I'll smoke it, and I won't smoke for like 5-6 hours.
Wow, that's a long time
Yeah,
to not
that-
smoke.
that's-
Yeah. For me, fucking, it's a lifetime.
No, weed, I was all fucked up. I feel like I would fare better on weed now just mentally, but back, I would always, my buddy always gave me shit for this. I would get drunk and then smoke weed, and he'd always be like, you're doing weed wrong.
Right.
He's like, you're getting fucked up and then getting high. He's like,
you
have to get
puke
high.
after that.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
just be like, ah. And I also would get paranoid and be like, everyone hates me and I'm a fuck up and all that stuff.
It's usually backwards for me. If I smoke first and start drinking, like it makes me not want to drink too much because I'm already high, and I'm like, that's why you can't sell weed and alcohol in the same places because they feel like if you smoke weed, you'll drink less.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I can't do anything.
So alcohol companies don't want that thing together because that would be great if you can go to a bar and have weed. I know most people, non-smokers, wouldn't like that shit, but like a drinking bar where you could also smoke.
Yeah, bro, to be honest with you, like the whole weed thing, with like being legal, I fucking hate it. Like I hate the smell of weed.
You'd rather it be heroin?
I hate people who smoke weed. No, I don't think any drug should be fucking.
I love you too, Derek.
No, you have one. The decriminalization of drugs, I think, is so stupid. It's stupid because look, weed became legal. Now there's weed stores all over the place. If they make heroin legal, there's gonna be fucking heroin stores. You know what I mean? And that's gonna fuck a lot of shit up. I don't think like weed should be smoked so freely. I think if you do, you should. If you want to make it legal, but you shouldn't be allowed to smoke it outside.
Why not?
Because
you're able to be drunk outside, and that's more dangerous.
Yeah, but drinking is more socially acceptable. It's the thing that people have been doing.
More violent.
You think so?
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe?
Oh, absolutely. I think drinking is worse. It seems to me.
Yeah.
Well, because yeah. I mean, I think people have bits about it, but it's like, I think you get drunk, you want to fight, people get in fist fights. I feel like high, people aren't like beating the fuck out of people.
Yeah.
High on weed, anyways.
I'm a coward when I smoke weed. I think about it. I'm like, nah, I don't really want to fight right now. This is.
Yeah.
But if I'm drunk, I'm like, oh no, this is not that bad. You know, you get a little more of that liquid courage.
And then driving. I mean, driving, looking at the phone has trumped everything. That's
right. That's the most
worse
dangerous
than
thing
anything.
ever. Yeah.
But I don't know. I drove high. I was quite careful.
I used to shoot up while I was driving.
While he was
crazy.
driving.
Yeah.
He was using the seatbelt to wrap around his arm.
You're like Travolta in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
That's like
Dude, I can't even watch that scene, bro.
Really?
When he's picking out the different heroin, my
Yeah.
fucking mouth waters. It's like I'm looking at filet mignon and shit.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't miss that shit.
The heroin?
Yeah.
It's not that it makes me miss it. I'm just like, Jesus Christ. It looks so pure. You know what I mean? Like,
Sounds like you miss it.
well, did you ever see a picture of a cold beer or something with the
Yeah, of course. But I mean, I think we'd say think of the last drunk, not the first drink.
Right,
you know,
right,
so
right,
you got to
right.
think of like where the heroin's going to take you. I
Oh,
assume
yeah,
sleeping on a sidewalk. It's weird to me because
That would have been the upgrade. Sidewalk is better than a jail cell.
Yeah.
The weird thing about heroin to me is like there's like different images of heroin to me. There's like a person who's lost everything on the street, sleeping in the car, and
Fucking
their kid is
ulcers
like,
on them.
Yeah, and they're standing like this. But then there's like Anthony Kiedis and Kurt Cobain and John Travolta in Pulp Fiction who are just functioning. Is the difference just having wealth? Like if you're wealthy,
Yes,
shooting heroin,
100%.
it's not a horrible deal. It seems like.
If you can afford your habit, then you're good to go. There was that scientist.
Yeah.
that
I mean, just me. I was selling heroin, and I was selling it like I was making so much money. I could afford a $700 a week habit where it was like nothing because I was making thousands of dollars in a week. And it only became a problem. Even though I looked like a fucking skeleton and I was nodding off at night, it didn't become a problem until I stopped making money and the habit was still there.
Right.
Because then once the money wasn't there, that's when the problem started.
Then they kicked you out of the union.
No.
The Dominican dope selling union of fucking Long Island.
So can I ask this question too?
Sure, ask whatever.
I tried to do this as a bit. I just remembered it now. Like, how are these guys shooting heroin and then playing like blazing guitar solos? Is that just an amount of practice?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it, but some guys are just.
I feel like I get a creative rush because I was like doing heroin and making Vine skits, and they were like.
Have you looked at any of them recently?
They were great. One was like one was like a genie in therapy, like a genie talking to a therapist.
That's pretty funny. You look like a genie now that you mentioned.
Well, you
it.
should have seen the towel when I had the towel in my head. And I had I was home for 5 weeks. I got out of jail. They were letting me come home before I did my sentencing.
Oh, that's right. You started to pop on Vine.
And this is back in 2014. And like Vine was still popular, and I just stayed home. I was like, all right, I'm going to jail in 5 weeks. So I was just getting drunk
They call
every
that a
day.
furlough, Joe.
Yeah. Wow. Grace period. That's what they call it, grace period. But I was just getting drunk every day and just making Vine sketches in my mom's living room because I just had nowhere to go and nothing to do.
Damn.
So I turned myself in.
So that's like in Goodfellas when he's sitting there and they're at the bar and he says,
All right,
say
take
a
me
little
to jail.
blowjob hacks.
Yeah.
So he's just hanging out.
Yeah.
All right, take me to jail.
Yeah.
My furlough wasn't like that. My father dropped me off for mine. And I had 14 Roxasets on me, 10s, and I ate them all.
Oh, my fit. No, I didn't
One
go.
shot.
I went in with a shit ton of weed.
Yeah.
I went in with like an ounce of weed in my stomach.
Wow. So you're going to show up high?
Yeah, then they keep you.
What are they gonna do? Send you to jail?
Yeah.
But I mean, are you like vulnerable at that point if you walk in?
No.
Can't someone fucking beat the shit?
Nah,
out of
right
you
when
'cause
you
you're
get
all
in, they
good?
keep you in seg. They keep you segregated till they figure out where they're gonna place you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're in
And if
reception
you're
for a
really
couple
sick,
days.
if you get really dope sick, then they'll send you to medical.
And you guys didn't know each other then?
No, we tell people we do sometimes just to fuck with them.
We met during the pandemic. I think 2020, beginning of 2021.
Yeah, it's a little over 2 years now. Yeah.
Wow, it feels like you guys have known each other 20 years.
I mean, we have the similar experiences.
Yeah, and we've been hanging out every day since then.
Yeah.
We hang out a lot.
Talk on the phone multiple times, like fucking good little gay boys.
This is interesting. I was just talking about this the other day to my buddy who I've been best friends with for 30 years. I'm like, it's weird to think for him and I, and similar here, I was like, my junior year in high school, I was like, this is my best friend. I'm like, we had been friends for like a year.
Right.
It's weird. Like you think of like high school or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is my guy.
Nah, I knew
we've known each other for 6 weeks
I knew I didn't like any of those fuckers.
in high school.
Well, yeah, I mean, I only went to high school for 1 year.
That's good.
Ninth. I got my GED while I was in juvie, and then I went to college for 1 semester, and they wanted me to write a paper on pharma and stem cells. And I was like, "Fuck this shit.
Yeah, get out of here.
I'm not fucking doing
And
it."
then
You read a
went-
paper.
And then
Yeah.
you started doing farming and smoking out of a stem.
Yeah.
Nice glass stem.
Well, it was the same thing with me. Like I was as you. Like I drank first. So I was a bad drunk, and then I sold cocaine, and then I sold opiates also, and then I started taking them. And they say if the drugs don't get you, the lifestyle will.
I
That's what
started
happens.
selling I started selling heroin because of my pill habit. Because I would just sell weed and coke. Like heroin wasn't a big thing in Long Island at that time, but it started like it was just pills. Everybody was on fucking like Roxy's or Perks or something, and then once pills are not around and there's heroin around, you're just like, fuck, this is all I got.
The heroin is so much cheaper.
So much cheaper.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
mean,
you'll
I've been clean
spend-
for 8 years. I don't know how much it is now. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't
Do
know
you?
either. No, I have no idea. I'd rather not know. But it might be cheaper, and I'm like, fuck, I might be able to afford it now.
When my brother relapsed a couple of years ago, I was asking him. I was like, "Hey," I was like, "How much does like a gram of heroin go for now?" He's like, "Shut up, dick." Fucking, I was like, I just want to know. I just want to,
But yeah, everybody eventually goes to heroin, and then
Which is if you think about it, it's a better financial decision.
so I started buying it in wholesale to get it cheaper, and I was like, fuck, I have all this extra shit, and people were already asking me for it, so I was just started selling it, and it just fucking blew up so quick. Where I went from like making maybe like $500 extra while doing it to like making almost like $5,000 a week.
Now, Joe, you also sold drugs, correct?
I did, yeah. Right before I got here.
Yeah, he's like, I used to sell my Adderall in high school, and while I was off my meds, I go do a protest.
Did the crack epidemic hit Whitman at all, or no?
I don't think so. No. I mean, well, the pills
They
fucked up. Massachusetts got it bad.
the opiates, right?
Yeah, the opiate shit. I mean, it's so weird because there's so many regions of the country I think about. I feel like New England, like particularly
got
central and western Massachusetts, really got hit hard. And my uncle's a firefighter, and he's like, that's a huge amount of their phone.
They
their,
saving
their calls.
overdoses.
Yeah, they're what do you call that? The
Narcan.
Narcan. Yeah, I think they do that a lot more than they put out fires.
Massachusetts got hit really bad too in the 80s. You ever see, or in the early 90s also with crack? You ever see the
Departed,
documentary?
loved it.
High on Crack.
Great.
I just
Great
found
documentary.
I just found that's actually not a documentary. No,
High on Crack Street.
No, I don't think I saw
With
it.
Mickey Ward from Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh, is that the fighter?
That's Mark Wahlberg made the movie The Fighter, but before The Fighter, there was a documentary that was following his brother Dickie Eklund.
Oh, yeah,
around.
yeah.
That was Christian Bale's character, right?
Christian, yes, Christian Bale won. I think he won an Oscar for that character. But dude, this documentary was fucking gritty. I mean, there's like 7 of them living in a fucking in a abandoned building with like fucking Cambodian whores and shit like that. I mean, and then Mickey's trying to train for the fight, and Dickie's trying to give him fucking like advice, and he's like, fucking.
Those are the good old days. The good old days of documentary. It was just like guys like telling all their secrets in a taxi cab or just like pimps and prostitutes.
Yeah,
All those documentaries were fucking like depressing or like like as a kid watching that shit, I'm like, wow, life is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I lived in the projects, and I was still like, this
You know,
is
if you think
worse.
about it, we shouldn't have really been watching that shit because I love HBO programming, but think about it. It was like Real Sex, Def Jam, and then it would be like Taxi Cab Confessions.
Yeah.
Confessions,
all in a
Pimps
row.
Up, Hoes Down.
Yeah,
that was another one.
Yeah, dude.
Rikers, the Rikers documentary.
Yep. All in a row.
Now it's just serial killers now. You can do serial killers and some pedophiles, some sexual predator, and it just fucking blows up.
I've always had an interest in serial killers myself.
I never
though.
got
I had a
it.
big
Oh, I
book
love
on
it,
them.
yeah.
I had a big book on them.
It's fascinating.
What is it? What do you guys like about that? I get
It's not that it's intriguing, but it interests me that someone could not. Because me, I was a criminal. I've been arrested so many times. People would look at me and say that's a bad guy, but I would never have it in me. Like, stabbing somebody, the sound, the feeling.
Yeah.
The blade hits the bone. It's gross. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then there's this person that can take a life and then do all these crazy, like, peel the fucking skin off and cut the head off and ride around with it. I mean, it's insane. And then some of these guys would get locked up and they'd send them to like a mental institution, and then they would talk themselves out of the mental institution.
Right.
Yeah, I forget what the big guy's name is.
Norm has the funniest way of describing like serial killer or killing somebody. He goes like, and then you do that thing that makes you feel like a god.
Well, the thing I like about true crime that's so interesting is I love like a timeline and an investigation at 8:02.
Yeah.
Stevenson, here's the door crack. Like it's just really.
I like the
intriguing.
unsolved mysteries better. I like it
Unsolved
when the
mysteries.
guy didn't get caught. When it's like this is the crime, and he
If
might
you have
still
any
be out
tips,
there.
please
Yeah.
call us.
Yeah, that's
I think they try to bring that show back.
Unsolved Mysteries is on Netflix right now.
now?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
shit,
like
yeah.
three new seasons. It's great.
They have unsolved and solved mysteries.
Yeah.
Well, no, unsolved mysteries wouldn't be a mystery, right? If it's solved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jim.
All right,
Would no
sorry.
longer be a mystery.
Sorry.
It would no longer be a mystery.
By the way, The Jinx is the greatest true crime doc, the HBO one with Robert
Jinx?
Durst.
Oh, I never saw that
Oh,
one.
was that the one where he confessed? He
Yeah,
snitched
yeah.
on himself in the urinal.
Yeah, but it's the best thing ever made by anybody. It's unbelievable. You got to watch it.
What,
The Jinx.
what was the crime?
Robert Durst. He killed multiple people. He killed his wife,
Yeah.
and then he killed a guy that was finding out, and then he killed a third person.
He was killing. He was cutting loose ends.
Yeah, he just
And
did
he almost
just
got
die?
he almost got away with it.
He did get away
Yeah,
with it.
He got caught
until
because of that documentary, right?
Yeah, yeah. But it's it's stylized so well, and it's so compelling, and it's one of those ones that he's in it,
Yeah.
and you're clearly aware that he did it. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And then he confesses to it.
Getting caught for a crime is wild. I remember, like, I robbed this place one
How
time.
does that feel? I never felt.
I'm gonna tell you. I robbed this place one time, and it was like an art gallery, and they had like a little place to eat.
What are you, the
and
Joker?
I
He had a clown mask and a whole team.
I ruined all the paintings, all the art.
jeez.
I was a real scumbag, and then I stole the silverware from the restaurant, which is fucking.
Well, paintings are gay.
Then I took what cash they had in the
He was
register,
going to gay clubs to try to fence him. He's like, nobody wants to buy these.
and there was a roll of quarters in the
Okay.
register, and I took it. And somehow somebody, and I was by myself when I did this, somehow the police were able to, link me to it. And then they went to where I lived. I wasn't home. My mother let them in. And I left like the roll of quarters out. And they're like, oh, I guess they were leaving. And she goes, what about this? And they fucking took the roll of quarters, and somehow they were able to trace it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably the little filing thing. The
Yeah.
little sleeve number.
2 fucking years. Thanks, Mom.
Now, what does
Wait
it
a-
feel? I mean, it must feel. I always think this with people that commit crime. Being on the lam must be just brutal. You're just waiting every day, every phone call, every knock on the door. You're like, fuck, I couldn't
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, if you're only looking at like a short bid, I'd say which was usually with me, when I was like VOP violation, they'd be like, we need you to come turn yourself in. I'd be like, you got to catch me when you do. I'm going to make you work for it. But if you're looking at a lot of time,
Yeah, I never had to look at crazy amount of time. The closest one was there was a fight, and the kid started smashing out my car with a baseball bat, and then
Gio's fucking poor car. We'll get into this.
And then I had a knife on me, so I started slashing his tires. So I was
Okay.
like, oh, you're gonna. I'm like, and then while I was slashing his tires, he came and he swung the bat at my head.
That
and I
must have
caught
been
it.
nice for the street, right?
I caught, just without I just put my hand out. That's why I have this lump right here
Ooh.
because I caught the bat with my hand,
Ah.
and then out of pure rage, I got on top of him and just started like
This poor son of a
slashing at
bitch.
him.
Hold on, dude. Just real quick.
No,
You're
let me
having-
finish. Let me
Wait.
finish. I got away with stabbing somebody. It was so good. No.
Did you stab him or just slash? 'Cause
Well-
slash is a lot lighter than a stab.
Yeah.
Well, I got on top of him and he held the. He
I
was
sunk it
holding the
in deep,
blade
Joe.
with his hands, and then I pulled the knife away, and I think I just
Ah.
poked him in the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then I got up, got in my car, and then drove away like Ace Ventura because I had no windshield. I was just like hoping no car was. I swear, I was driving with my head outside because my window was smashed.
You were a Ventura pet
And
detective.
then
Yeah.
I get to the precinct, and they came to my house, and I thought it was them coming to like jump me or retaliate, and it ended up being 2 detectives that knew me for drug shit. Like,
Damn.
as soon as I saw the detectives, I knew who they were. I started running towards my house, and then they got me before I got to the door. And I was in the precinct the whole time, and I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. Like, this is probably gonna be like 7 years, 8 years. And the kid dropped the charges. He didn't press any charges. He
That's
let
so
it go.
crazy.
Did you guys become friends after that?
No, we were actually friends before.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He went on Facebook and started calling me like a junkie and shit, and like telling people I did heroin.
Well, he wasn't lying.
No, he wasn't
Yeah,
lying,
he was
but
yeah.
still, you don't put that on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know,
No, he has the right to speak his truth.
It's a little uncouth, but yeah.
Not for Facebook.
And then
It's
I
not
went
uncouth.
to just go talk to him, and then he came out with the bat. So I was like, oh, this is. And then we fought. Like I took the bat from him a couple times, beat him up.
So he was scared.
So
He
then
already
took it
thought-
out. He took it out of my car.
He thought that you were already coming for violence, but you were going to speak to him.
No, I went to talk to him.
Yeah,
he
and
knows.
he brought out the
yeah.
bat. Now, the thing that's funny with Gio is that, like, he has all these scars on him, his hands and everything, and every time you've been attacked, you're like, I blocked it with my hand. So it's like a bat. You got
I
your
blocked the knife with my hand.
got his tendon
Ah.
severed.
He called me my
Look
neck.
at that.
Damn.
And it's just funny to me that this
Ah.
kid was smashing out his windows. Because a couple months ago, Gio was waiting at a drive-thru to get food.
We went around. I guess he fell asleep. It was like 3 a.m. at a Taco Bell drive-thru, and I went around him, and this girl went around him. So like I guess he woke up at that point, and he gets out of his car with those stretch-out batons, and he goes to the girl behind me. He's like tapping on her window.
This is a crazy person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was nuts. He was nuts, and he's like tapping on her, screaming at her, and I see her like scared to death. And I was like laughing. I was like, ha, 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 she got the shit. And all of a sudden he comes to my car and just starts screaming again. And then I try to like open the door to like push him away, and he just starts fucking whacking my car with the baton. And then he runs like he goes to the back, smashes out the back window, jumps in his car, and then drives off like over this big divider. You just see the
like, boom,
bottom
boom,
of his
boom, yeah.
car getting scraped to get out. And I'm like calling the cops already. I'm like, I'm not fucking going back to jail for this. You know what I mean? Trying to.
Yeah.
So I called the cops right away. I was like, yo, I'm getting attacked.
Now, dude, I always
That's
wonder
why I
what
knew
it
I
is
changed.
about us to where, like, I mean, everything's been pretty cool for a while. It was like we had this dark cloud around us where, like, you know.
Well, speak for yourself. I've been in sunshine.
I mean, I felt like we've been good lately. The dark cloud traveled to one of our other friends, but there was always some shit. You know what I mean?
Like how you're being all like.
Like,
poetic
remember
with it.
Bushwick? The guy tried to fucking wanted to kill you in Bushwick outside of the
Oh,
tiny
that was
cupboard.
at the tiny cupboard.
And this is like shit that freaks you out, right, Joe?
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I remember when you were
I
talking
hear about
about
this.
getting your car, when you just got your car and you had to drive to do a tiny cupboard spot. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
got to fucking park on Broadway.
Yeah.
No, I hate it.
Yeah, it was that deli right outside there, and this guy pulled out a knife on me and this comic.
Yeah.
And because he was just like yelling, just randomly, just yelling, and it sounded like he was talking about us the whole time. And then like he just kept going and
It
going.
was Gio and some little nerdy Indian.
No,
kid.
actually, he was a big, muscular Indian
Oh, for
kid,
real?
But he was like a doctor. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't gonna do.
It wasn't
anything.
about that life.
So it was random, or he didn't.
It was
like you
random.
guys?
There's
I
a lot of
guess-
crazies out there,
he
man.
just like wanted, like he just looked at us.
And that happened within
This
a
is
couple
what's wrong with
days
Brooklyn.
of Taco Bell.
Yeah, that was
It happened
like
within a
2
couple
weeks
days
apart.
of Taco
No,
Bell.
I want to move. I hate it. But I try to do a joke like this. People always say this because I talk about all the crazies on the subway and all the shit. And
Yeah.
by the way, a guy just got his ass kicked on 14th Street station last Saturday.
Really?
He's suing the MTA because there was a bunch of employees there that did nothing. Guy knocked his tooth out, beat the fuck out of him.
Was this
For no
Tekashi?
reason?
Was this Tekashi?
It's just
6ix9ine?
random. It's just like a random lunatic.
Meeting. Yeah.
But it's funny because people now, because I talk about it all the time, and no one wants to talk about this in this fucking hellhole city we live in. And people always say this to me. Like, my wife will come home and go, oh, I was on the subway. You would have hated it. A guy came in. He was smoking a cigarette, kicking the windows and screaming. And I'm like, Well, what do you mean? I would have hated it. You liked it?
You're fine.
Everybody else was like, all right. It was just a wave of gratitude came over everybody else.
Showtime, everybody.
I'm like, I have this rep for being the guy who doesn't like meth addicts kicking out the windows of the subway. I'm like, yeah, nobody likes it.
She's sitting in the truck, like she's sitting in the car, like, thank God Joe's not here bumming us out right now,
So I said, I'm like,
killing the vibe.
I'm a real stick in the mud. I don't like fucking heroin addicts screaming in my face. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. But you guys have noticed it. You guys are from here.
We've been.
I don't go in the subway.
I don't take the subway either. But we've been attacked ourselves.
Yeah.
This is so nice to hear. Two tough guy, ex-con lunatics, with all respect, that just refuse to go on the subway.
Yeah. I will not take the subway.
Yeah,
I will do everything in my power to not take. I've taken a city bike when it was like fucking -0 out. Like I don't give a shit.
The last time I took a train,
'Cause
my car got towed and I had to get to Brooklyn. And two of my friends said, I didn't even know how to take the subway. I'm like, yo, how the fuck do I get here? Like, when people tell me, oh, you got to take the N, the A, the L, I'm like, yo, that's poor people alphabet. Don't
our friends went with them because like we can't let them take it alone. Can't let them take the subway.
Wow.
Because we've come face to face with the crazies and we've had to defend ourselves before.
Yeah.
Barking for comedy shows on McDougal, we got fucking attacked.
Dude, listen to this.
McDougal, forget about it.
The other day I had a spot at Greenwich, right? And I remember I was thinking on the ride over, I'm like, man, I just want to be a better human. You know what I mean? Like I just want the world to be a better place. And
That's always when it happens.
As I open my door on McDougal, a fucking biker rides right into a dude on a bike, rides right into it. Boom, falls, smack. Like I'm like, shit, buddy, you all right? And then the Uber driver opens his window, is like, hey, man, you're right. The guy pulls a fucking hammer out and just starts fucking smashing the car. And I just look and I'm like, yeah, I don't want nothing to do with this. I just fucking walked away.
It's hammer time.
I felt like a fucking coward.
That's the way it goes. I had this story that happened on the way to the stand. I might have seen you guys. This is in the winter, or last winter, I guess. And I was listening to like a Buddha. This is when I was still taking the subway at night. I take it here. I take it during the day.
I was there that night because you were like, I'm taking Lyft and Uber from now on.
Well, this is like I get off the train and I was listening to like some meditation. It was like a loving kindness meditation about like love all. I'm a big into meditation, Buddhist shit. And it was like, love everybody, love a stranger. Think about someone you don't like and wish them love. And I was listening to it, and then as I'm walking, I see these two kids. They were probably like 13, and they just seemed a little suspect. And I was kind of looking at them, and they started to walk a little wider, and I was like, I'm sure it's fine. Love them. And then as I'm walking, I just hear like, and I feel like a thing on my back, and I look down, and there's 2 bags of dog shit.
Oh.
They just whipped bags of dog. Now, the bags were sealed, so it wasn't like all over me.
They
and
wanted him to explode, though.
And they're laughing.
Yeah.
They're just like 2 kids laughing. And so I just kind of stared at them. And then one of them was like, hey, do something. Fucking do something. And in my mind, I just kind of smiled because it was snow. There was like snow on the ground. I had a set. And I'm like, this could be a trap. I'm going to go over there. And then their older brothers come running out or whatever. Or they have weapons,
whistle.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it was hard because you're like, I really feel like I could beat the fuck out of this. They're literally like 12 years old. And you just have to go, all right, well, you got me, and I got to go do my spot. But, it was, you're getting a meditative place, and kids throw fucking dog shit at you.
Yeah, no, man.
It's a horrible place. I want to move to New Jersey, like Jersey Shore, Red Bank, something nice.
And you would drive into the city every night?
Not every night, every once in a while.
Yeah, at least the kids over there throwing shit at you are white.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Oh, my God.
classic whites, you know? Just give me a classic blonde white.
That made Natalie frown.
No, but he laughed. I got half the booth.
No, by the way, I mean, I know we're all joking, but plenty of these fucking psychotic meth lunatics are all classic whites.
Yeah,
just
Caucasians.
fucking-
Crazy Caucasians.
Yeah,
absolutely.
this is not
I
a.
had, speaking of serial killers and shit, your fascination, I had a friend who
That's our shit. Serial killer. That's a white.
Well, he's
thing.
white. He's a
Yeah.
white friend from Long Island. He these people sold him a fake kilo of coke, right? And he found him. He went to kidnap him. I think it was like $20,000. He was out. So he kidnapped him, but one of the guys got away. It was supposed to 3 guys he like tried to kidnap. One got away. He only got 2. Brought him back to his apartment in Queens. Shot both of them with multiple guns. Like they had multiple bullets in them.
Wow.
So my theory was, you probably like this. He shot him with a smaller caliber gun and didn't fully die. They were probably like twitching or moving, and then he went to a bigger gun. Yeah, went to a bigger gun. Didn't do the job. So he
That's
went
the
to
worst
even
when they're just
bigger
laying
gun.
around groaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm fucking around.
And then he chopped him up in his bathtub.
Oh my
Put him
God.
in Tupperware and drove him with another guy back to Long Island. And he tried to. Do you know what a sump is?
Like a sump? I don't think so.
It's
I know
almost
a dump.
It's just like a big hole in a neighborhood where
like a
all the
basin,
rainwater
right?
goes,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
all the
okay.
sewers lead to it. So he went and tried to throw the bodies over there, and he couldn't get the torsos over. So he just buried the limbs and the head in the sump, and then took the torsos back to his mom's house. This is like 2 streets away from where I lived in Long Island, and buried them in his dog's little grave plot that he had.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like Robert Durst, the
Yeah.
Jinx.
Oh, yeah, almost.
Wow, how long did it take for him to get caught?
It wasn't long because he went back to Queens and got caught up for something else. And then at the same time, people were calling and making complaints about the smell. Because what he didn't realize is that sump goes all to the sewers, so the smell was coming out into the street.
Right. It's
And
always
then-
the smell.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they went in there, they found that, and then they knew his mom lived right down the road. So they went, they saw the
Freshly dug
dug
dirt,
up
yeah.
ground, yeah. And then
Could you
like,
imagine cutting somebody up, dude? Jesus.
I don't want to imagine.
God
But
damn.
he got like, if you look up his name on the New York State inmate lookup, his time says 99 years, 99 days, 99 months, 99
Is this an
days.
infinity
It's
sign?
it's basically
That's-
infinity. He's never getting out.
Wow.
Like he's just gonna die in there.
Yeah.
His girlfriend at the time who took the guns, she's doing 8 years, and the guy that drove him back to Long Island got sentenced to 20 years.
That's a little much.
And they're all on the Patreon, so we want to give a
Yeah,
shout out.
100% of the proceeds will go to
Their
fight his
commissary,
appeal.
yeah.
We're gonna try to get him out.
We'll get you a couple pieces of ramen noodles, some Reese's Pieces, shit
And
like that.
he was a big drug guy. He would fucking take like a crazy amount of
Well,
drugs.
he must have been whacked to be able to
he
do
would smoke
something
a lot
like
of
that.
PCP.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
was
but
always
PCP
on
will do
Vicodins,
it, man.
steroids. Like he was out of his fucking mind.
Well, bro, the whole like thing with the PCP back in the day with the dust is that these guys would be going crazy, like killing people, and the cops would have to shoot them like 5 times.
Angel
to put
dust
them
and
down.
PCP, same thing?
Same
Yeah,
thing,
same
yeah.
So is that the crazy S drug, or is fucking like bath salts or whatever?
I never did bath
Never did
salts.
that.
I smoked a lot of dust though.
They say
I
it's
never
like
got crazy on it like that. Like I
Wow.
used to feel like my skeleton was gonna leave my body, but that's about it.
Just get butt naked, walk the street.
I never did that, but people did do that a lot. And people would think they could fly, they jump off of buildings
Right.
and shit. Yeah. But the bath salts I feel like is a pretty similar thing, you know, where you're fucking eating people's faces and shit.
You ever try hardcore shit like coke or?
No, I never did anything. I did a little bit of weed and like PCP. PCP. Fucking,
Yeah.
I got PCP. I
Mushrooms.
can't stop thinking about PCP. No, I never did mushrooms either. Like Vicodin and
Yeah,
Xanax and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like a 1.5 Vicodin and like 6 beers. I always said is like the best I've ever felt in my life, including in sobriety. Just fucking, just money. Well, the idea to
Money.
me, and I don't want to promote druggy, but like. A painkiller is an effective thing to kill pain.
Right.
So if you don't have pain and you take it,
Right.
it's fucking dynamite.
Yeah.
It's like, woo!
100%.
Because like you're in the negative if you're in the pain.
Yes.
So if you're at 0, you're just in the positive.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
that
no,
point.
it was
So,
great.
Yeah.
No, I went to, I did comedy in Iraq, and my buddy gave me a couple of Vicodin. This is when I was still drinking, obviously.
I mean, your anxiety must have been through the roof in Iraq, right?
It wasn't too bad. You feel surprisingly, I mean, it was
Safe.
up a little bit, but you just feel so taken care of by those guys.
This is a USO show, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And we flew around. There was a couple times, you know, you drive in a SUV, and then when you go under bridges, like an underpass, they switch spots so that people can't drop bombs on them on the other side.
Right, right, right.
So you'd be doing like 70 miles an hour, and all of a sudden the car would jerk, and you're like, "The fuck is that?" And you're flying on a Black Hawk. So you're a little bit like, this is crazy. But I was also there in 2011 and 2010 and had died. Like, I think 08 was really when it was at its worst.
At its worst.
But I brought a couple of Vicodin, and then there was a guy I went to high school with was out there, and he had, however the soldiers get beer. They had a couple beers, and I had like 3 or 4 beers, and then they sold Cubans. And I had like a Cuban and a Vicodin and like 3 beers. I was at Saddam Hussein's palace.
Get the
and I
fuck.
was
Are
like,
you
I'm
fucking
peaking.
serious?
Yeah, I slept in Saddam Hussein's palace.
Holy shit.
It's just an American base. That does make you feel a little bit. You're like, what are we doing here? What's
Yeah.
going on?
I mean, I feel like that's like we got your leader's house now. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
totally.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
literally like
Capture
a
the
humidor.
flag.
There's like a
Yeah.
humidor with Cubans, and just American generals smoking cigars. It's wild. And
Was
there's
it
like
vandalized still, or it was just kind of like they fixed it up a little bit?
it was pretty fixed up, and there's also a driver. You could hit golf balls into his whatever you call it, moat or lake or whatever.
Did you ever see when he took power? And he went up there and he had a list of people's names and he would say their name and then they were taken out back and they were just shot.
It's like the Patreon list.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Yeah, bad guy, I guess, but it was pretty cool.
Dude, having a buzz on, smoking a Cuban in Saddam Hussein's palace, I mean, that's just...
It was something. And I was with Nate Bargatze, who's now an international superstar. At the time,
he got the rub.
He got
nobody, the Saddam rub. He picked up some of that energy from Saddam.
Did he touch his golden AK-47?
But no, it was awesome. But yeah, I was a big pussy. I was afraid of coke. I always thought it was with cocaine. I never heard anybody talking positively about cocaine.
Right.
Until later, a few people, I'd met a couple people, but everyone was always like, oh, coke's horrible. It's a mess. Your heart, you fuck it. So, and then I wasn't really around anyone doing heroin or shit. I was already into comedy and I didn't know any people like that.
Well, it wasn't big back then in comedy, like the coke, was it? Or it was just
Coke was around a little bit. I would be around coke, but it just didn't see. It wasn't. Snorting something was crazy to me. It just seemed insane. And I've always been having a fear of like a heart attack. I always feel like my heart is racing, and I'm like cocaine would just fucking.
It wouldn't be good. Yeah.
You're a worrisome guy, right?
Yeah, I'm a lot better than I used to be. I used to be like a hypochondriac. That's why I drank so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I gotta numb this. But that shit was scary to me.
You were. I remember you were worried about your cholesterol a couple months ago.
I'm still worried about it.
I remember you talking to Lev one day. Yeah, I think your cholesterol came up, and then you go, Lev, and Lev was like, "Yeah, I know, I'm really big again." And then you were like, "Yeah, but you look strong." That's what you said.
Well, I do. I have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all that shit. But I think you can just take a pill. You just take some shit, right?
Take a pill. Yeah, I mean, you run a lot still now too, right?
I run. Yeah, I ran today
How
from a homeless guy.
You were telling me a story about too. You took off on some guys in Austin, right?
Yeah,
Some
Austin was
crazies.
where it first started. That's where like
Dude, the
my life
homeless
changed.
in Austin, they have fucking machine guns, bro. It's insane.
I think, yeah, I Austin a few years ago was at Moon Tower, and we were all, it was like the morning, like 10:30 in the morning, and everyone was kind of like outside, comics, like, hey, what do you want to do? We'll go get breakfast. And there was a guy just walking up the street, white guy, hammer, and just started smashing out a window at the hotel across the street. We were all like, all right, well, let's get back inside. It was just casual. Nobody was chasing him. Nothing was happening.
Yeah.
Is a Ramada Inn employee?
That's what it felt like. It was
You got
wild.
laid off. That's what
He said,
happened.
"Fuck this place."
But yeah, just last year or 2 years ago now, I was walking up the street to the creek, and it was late, and it was like, it wasn't that late. It was like 10:30 at night, but homeless people kind of took over downtown.
There's
and
a
it
little
was quiet.
shelter over there, actually.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
So that's what happened. I was walking, and there was a parking lot that was like totally empty, and that's when I get fucked up, like alone, and it's just nobody around.
Right.
And then there was a guy on like a beat up like street bike, like a BMX style bike, and then he kind of rode through the parking lot, and then I heard him like using his feet on the street to kind of stop. So I sensed that he was stopping behind me.
Right.
And then these two guys were walking up the street, and I just stepped off it was a narrow sidewalk, so I just stepped off the sidewalk and walked in the street. And then they kind of yelled like, "Yeah, you fucking racist motherfucker! You afraid of us?"
Yeah, I am. I am afraid of you.
And I was like, "Yeah, it has nothing to do with race. It's just there's a
I'm
guy on a
scared of
bike, and yeah, any two guys could walk up." But also, you're two abreast, and so I'm just getting out of your way. It wasn't like I ran across the street.
Right.
So they had a thing with me. Yeah. And they said something. So then I came up to the next light, and that's where the shelter was. And the
Right.
shelter, everyone was out in the sidewalk.
Yes.
And it was
Yep.
like 60 people, and they were all arguing.
Yep,
And I was
yep.
like, well, I'm not going to walk through this.
Yeah.
So then I crossed the street, and I was like, you know what? I'm close to the creek, but it's like, I just don't like the vibe.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm going to walk back to the hotel. And when I started walking, the two guys, they crossed the street towards me. And then the guy on the bike came back, and this time he stopped like right behind me.
Jesus Christ.
So now I was like, these two guys have crossed the street, and this guy's right behind me. And then they were like, "You fucking following me? It feels like you're fucking following me." And then the other guy said something incoherent, and that's when I just called it. And I
He
was
spoke
like,
in homeless. That's what he
And
did.
I went,
He was like, let him go.
no, he was like kind of mumbling, and I knew there was a third presence behind me, and I went, I'm sorry, I'm lost. I apologize.
You're like, I'm just trying to get like 4 feet away.
I'm just trying to get away from you.
I just want to do a set, man. And so I just took off running. But the best part of the story is I start running, and then there's like 2 skinny jean fedora hipsters holding hands, walking right back that way.
Like,
And then
hey,
I'm like
guys.
this. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm a fucking huge pussy.
Nah.
But it was just 3 guys, and I was like, and they were mad at me, and I just wasn't interested in finding out.
I was working in a shelter for a little bit right after I became a counselor, and my job basically was just like those firemen, where I had a drawer full of Narcan from people ODing and having to go save them, and every day, so everybody had to be out of the shelter by 7 a.m. and then they had to be online to get their bed back at 9 p.m. And outside of the shelter at that time was it was like Mad Max.
Right.
It was insane. Yeah, people getting stabbed, people fucking ODing, people getting their fucking and then we couldn't let you back in if you were inebriated. That's like it was against the rules.
Right.
And then the city would send a bus every night to take all the people who were too fucked up to what the hell's the name of that hospital where they send everybody. They would send basically to like an emergency detox. But every night was
Bellevue?
Bellevue. Yep, they would send them to fucking Bellevue every night. I just imagine being that bus driver,
Right.
with all those fucking them crazies on there.
Miss Frizzle.
And I used to be one of them. You know
Yeah,
what
it's
I mean?
tough. No, it's
I used to
scary.
be one.
Yeah, well, I was scared of you. But yeah.
But sometimes don't you think like maybe like they like you getting into your head thinking that like they're following you, they could sense that, and they're like, why is this guy?
Well, I think you can manifest stuff sometimes, possibly. If you want to get all fucking spiritual about it.
I felt like that even with like the shit that happened to me at the Taco Bell and Tiny Cupboard.
Right.
It was almost like I was caught. Like I almost brought it in my direction where I could have avoided it, but I just reacted in a certain way that kind of like. What is that shit called? Remember in the Matrix?
Karma?
Not karma. Remember in the Matrix when he goes like when he knocks the vase, he's like, I knew you were gonna knock the vase, or me telling you that you were gonna knock the vase made you knock the vase
over.
Yeah.
I never watched The Matrix.
Yeah,
Never?
Joe's
I
like,
thought you
you
were like a
guys are
big
fucking
movie
gay.
guy.
Yeah, I'm not a dork.
You guys are into fucking fantasy.
Like
No, but I hear you on that, because bro, when that happened, when those 2 things happened to you, we also had the other issue fucking over on McDougal. Within a short amount of time, and then even our other buddy, like this guy just came up to on the street with boxing gloves and was like, "We're gonna fight." Like he already had his on. He's like, "Here are these gloves. We're gonna fight." And
he had sock and boppers.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's psychotic.
he's like, well, "Nah, man, I'm not gonna fight you." He's like, "No, we're gonna fight." And then he wouldn't leave him alone. He kept going like this in front of him, like while he was. And then he's like, finally, he was like, "All right, I'll fight you." And he fucking put the gloves on. He fucking
Sounds like a
punched him,
YouTube
kneed
guy.
him. No, it was just one of those guys. I've seen him before out there. He walks around with boxing gloves on. I mean, what a fucking. I'm not saying that these people should be picked up off the street, but
Well, we used to have state-run fucking mental institutions, which had their own problems.
Right.
But I believe Reagan got rid of it. But it's like with a lot of these people running around Greenwich Village, the right medicine, they would be functioning people.
Yeah,
They're
but they have to want
bipolar
to
or
take
whatever
it.
the fuck.
Though.
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah,
want to
a
take
lot of
it.
them. Those are the people that refuse to take them.
Yeah.
Right.
Some
need
of those
them.
people are on their medication. They stop taking because they feel all right, and then they go into a psychotic break.
Yeah. So it's, this time you're just walking around. There's just completely unhinged people walking around the street.
Yeah.
Next to people that are like, 2 tickets, comedy club. And some fucking lunatic's going to kill them.
Well, we've had a friend, a little lady that people have literally tried to pick her up and run off with her. Like,
That's crazy.
actually, like, physically lift her up. And she's like a kid. She's like running with her
it's
fucking
tiny,
book bag
tiny
on.
too.
Fucking
Yeah.
slamming
Her
back.
book bag is probably what saved her. Her book bag weighs more than her.
Oh, for sure. For sure, dude.
She's always going hiking.
And any time I've barked, did you ever bark back in the day?
I did one time, and I hated it so much, but it was
done it.
hours, and it was horrible.
I've done it 3 times, got into a physical altercation every time.
Yeah, it's not.
Every time.
No, standing on the streets of New York, talking to people. I've done a couple of shows that was like man on the street stuff for Sam Morril had a sports show on MSG, and I was like man on the street guy, and they'd be like, "Yeah, go up to this guy," and I'm like, "Dude, this isn't my kind of thing. You go talk to him, and then I'll be funny. I'm not just walking up to people. This is crazy."
Yeah.
Like New York City is a dangerous place.
Yeah.
It's real life out here.
Yeah.
It's fucking lunatics.
Yep. And it is true, man. Like you see something happen, like I'm like, I just want to go home. I have enough drama, and I want to, you know.
That's how I feel a lot of the time. Like people are like, "Yeah, you're a pussy," but I'm like, I'm just not interested. I'm not interested in any kind of fucking altercation or anything, and I have no pride. I will run. I'm like, that's a skill.
I used to have a lot of pride, but I got it knocked out of me. I was reformed after a while. They finally beat me down to submission, where I'm like, fuck, I'd rather be a pussy.
Yeah, you'll call the police now.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Instantly. You threaten me, I'll call the police real quick.
Yeah.
I talk about this with Diego Lopez, the MMA trainer and comedian, great comedian also. But we talked about this, you know, you're training to fight and do jujitsu and all this stuff. And he's at one point we were talking, he's like, "Oh, if you're able to run away from somebody,
Run.
Yeah.
that's what you do." This is like, "Oh, I need this." Like, you don't want to be like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know how to rear naked choke." Come here.
Yeah.
It's like if you can run. This is like if you're in a corner at a bar.
It's like, oh, cool, we get to try this on concrete now.
It's like, get the fuck out of there.
Remember the one day that guy was fucking following me on the way to Old Man Hustle?
Oh,
I
God.
called you,
yeah,
dude.
yeah.
This guy was just circling me on a fucking bike. He
There's
and
the
dude,
Old Man Hustle in Brooklyn.
I can't handle these stories.
Yeah, it's so weird. I'm walking up to the club because it's like what was it 7-8 blocks from the train to over there, and it was one night I took the train because it's only one stop from my apartment in Manhattan to the stop, and so I was like, fuck, it's one stop, no big deal. And I got out of the train, I'm walking, and then something like hits my head, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I see this dude just go by on
Was
a
it
bike.
dog shit?
I know that.
Two little
I know that
13-year-old
kid.
kids.
Yeah, I know that child.
He was just like, do something. Fucking, and, you know, he had the whole baklava on, which I hate. That makes me uncomfortable right off
Yes.
the rip. People wearing masks, especially when it's fucking 90 degrees out. What the fuck is
Shiesty mask.
wrong with you? Yeah. And he's just circling me. And something in my gut was just like, weapon. Like, he has a weapon. Like, don't engage. And I fucking called this fucking...
But he won't tell me what's going on. I'm like, yo, man. It's like being all like he's scared. He's scared to tell me that he's scared.
So...
Yo, where you at? Yo, I think...
I get...
Yo, where you at right now?
Yeah.
Yo,
Yeah.
Let me call you back.
And then I get like I stop in front of like a restaurant where there's a little bit of traffic. People are coming in and out, just people inside the windows. And I call an Uber. And the Uber comes and I fucking hop in and then Uber it's literally a 30-second Uber to fucking, and when I get to the club, guess who's fucking out there talking to all the comedians?
He's screaming at the comics.
Seriously?
He's fucking
he's just
same
talking.
guy.
He was like asking questions.
Yeah. He's like, somebody just tried to jump me, man. And then I get over there, he rides away, and I was like, what the fuck was that guy saying? He was like, somebody tried to rob him or something. I'm like, no, he tried to rob me.
That's
I think
hilarious.
He wanted my hat. There was
All
that.
right, now tell us what really happened, Derek. What'd you do to this kid?
Listen, in my head, I was like, I'm just going to fucking shoulder tackle this
It did
bike.
sound, when you called me, it did sound like you hurt somebody.
No.
See, I need to like have this audio on me when people call me a pussy. I'm like, well, here's a fucking ex-con lunatic who's shitting his pants and taking cars.
Yeah, dude. I was nervous
Yeah.
because
Isn't that thing where they say courage is being able to hide that you're scared? You ever heard that?
maybe
Because most of the craziest shit I've done, or most fights I've been into, I've been in
You were
a lot
scared.
of fights.
100%.
I went in 100%.
Yeah.
Fucking
Absolutely.
shitting myself. Even in the same feeling before I go on stage, I feel like I'm a shit myself. But once I hit the stage, it goes away. Same thing with a fight.
That
As soon
is
as that first
courage,
punch,
yeah.
it's over. You don't feel anything until it's over.
you don't get nervous anymore, right?
Not on stage. No, I get nervous going to the club. But no, my therapist always talks about it. It's like doing something that you're afraid to do is the definition of courage.
Right.
Like people will be like, "Oh, you're a pussy, you're this," but you're like, "Well, I'm still living my life in New York."
yeah,
right,
That's
You haven't got up and
courageous.
moved, yeah.
Yeah, people that don't leave their house, those are the pussies.
Yeah.
I got in trouble for saying that during the pandemic. Not a good thing to say during the pandemic.
Yeah, they hated you on the Facebook. He
Yeah.
said, all you fucking Zoom cowards. That's what he said. That's what Gio did.
I still don't get booked on a lot of Brooklyn shows because of those comments.
Fuck Brooklyn.
Brooklyn sucks.
Fuck
Yeah,
Brooklyn.
yeah, they
the
suck.
fucking alt scene. Fucking. But isn't it wild? Like, the shit that we've done, and then getting on stage day in day out for 20 years. You're different than a regular Earthling.
I think so.
But then being like, I ain't fucking taking the train. I ain't fucking going down there. You know what I mean? It is.
Yeah, but on stage, you don't have to worry about getting dog shit thrown at you.
But you do have to worry about getting assaulted. You do have to worry about getting assaulted. Did that, when that shit happened at the Oscars, did it freak you out for a little bit?
Not too much, but I've always talked about this for years. I would watch comedians, like going way back to when I was a kid, watch comedians be like, hey, you shut up, shut your cunt face, you fucking bitch. Yeah. And I remember afterwards being like, can you fight? That was crazy. Because I'm like, I think comedians do think like somehow we're in this power place, and you're like, especially now with social media, you're like, this guy can just find you. You can after the show, they can just beat you. Like people talk like they're tough, and I always say I try to handle things on stage the way I would in the street. Right. I'll be like, hey, I'm sorry, it's a little distracting here. I'm never like, hey, you fucking idiot. I'm like,
I'll do that, but I'll let them know after I'm just joking around.
Right.
You know what I mean,
be like, shut your fucking whore mouth. I'm just joking, guys. I'm just fucking playing. Is that your mom? My bad, man. Sweet lady.
Yeah, like in Chicago, I got threatened to throw something at somebody, and I just caught myself. I was just like, all right, I'm just joking.
Was that midnight show?
Yeah, it was a fucking
That was a fucking shit show.
It was my first time in Chicago. I had no idea what these fucking people were about. They were fucking savages.
Yeah, they were. The earlier shows were heavy, like the LGBTQ community came out, and then the fucking
they loved you.
And then I was killing. I was fucking smoking with those folks. They loved me. And then but the Late Show was it was crazy.
Like it felt almost, their heckles felt almost violent.
Yeah.
I was just like, what the fuck?
You could feel the tension in the room, man. Yeah.
Like, you're not funny, you pussy. And I'm just like, oh,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You ain't do that shit.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible.
And I was like, I came here all the way from Brooklyn. I'm going to tell these motherfucking jokes.
I mean, I've had people like run up to the stage and yell, but then just like kind of run
Weren't you
out.
at a show where a comedian got punched in the face? Taleli got fucking rocked. It
wasn't even a show. It was an open mic, which made it worse.
Oh.
And there was like 8 people there, and he got into an argument with a rapper. And
so it's good when there's rappers at the open mic.
So it's a recording studio in Long Island, right?
Okay.
And like, so you walk in, there's a recording studio in the middle. They're selling drugs, and then there's a big open space, and they were doing an open mic.
Good energy, this place. Safe
and to start the open mic, they told this guy to come and feature and do 15 minutes at the top of the open mic. And he starts saying like racist stuff, which is normal for Long Island, but there's a black rapper at the back, and he's just like, not funny. He's talking about like the BLM protest, and the guy's like, that's not funny. And the guy's like, the comic, he's a really good comic, he just starts going in on him. And then like, he didn't really like
he was
it.
making fun of his braids.
Yeah,
and shit like
he was just like, saying like, your father's not here. Like, the typical stereotypical shit.
So far, I'm on board.
Yeah. But this whole time I'm thinking he's a comic too, because I don't know who's a comic or not. And I see him kind of going back and forth. He starts walking to the stage, and they're like, they're going back and forth. And then I see him. As soon as I see him get on stage, I start getting my camera. I'm like, oh, I gotta record this. And while I'm picking up the camera, I just heard. Oh. And I look up, and the comic is almost like curled down. And there's a guy in between, and the guy's just yelling at him. He's like, what the fuck? I told you, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. And I froze. I was like, holy shit. And then the guy they all walk out all at once. And I grabbed my friend. I was like, hold on, let's go outside and make sure he's all right.
Right.
And before I got out, the rapper was in the studio, getting in the studio, putting his headphones on to record a song. And I was it was the
probably
funniest
how
shit ever.
Like, yo, I just punched the motherfucker in the face.
And then the 2 comics who were roommates, they get into their PT Cruiser and drive off. When you drive a PT Cruiser, you gotta get punched in the face.
I just punched the motherfucker in the face, making fun of my race.
And then they tell
in
me
the wrong place.
And then they tell me afterwards, like the guy who got punched told me afterwards that the comic he was driving with, like they were just sitting there in silence, and the first thing he says was, "Damn, man, I'm pissed off that joke didn't work." And he's just sitting there with a black eye, like, shut the fuck up, man.
That's fucking
It was the
hilarious.
funniest shit ever. Yeah.
Could you? I would never. I hope that nothing like that ever happens to me.
I tell you, I'll turn pussy real quick. If somebody started going towards the stage, security,
Yeah,
security.
Yeah. Well, I'm a couple weeks ago at the stand.
Well, that's different
They
because
ran into the green room though, and they're like, "Oh, somebody just jumped on stage. Lewis is on stage."
Yeah.
Me and Berg run
It was
out
girls.
there. It was fucking girls.
It was
Oh,
hot
yeah,
women.
I
It
heard
was
about
girls.
that.
So I was like, I'm not touching them.
No.
Fucking
I would never touch any girl under any circumstance.
never.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless she's asking for it. No, it depends on what she's wearing. What is she wearing?
But I really don't want any more drama, fucking like shit like that happening. You know what I mean? Because I just know how far it could go.
I mean, I had a comic just a couple days ago at snatch a paper and like a sign up for, you know how they have like late night in New York, late night spots. They had like a thing where you could sign up, and I'm signing, and he snatches the pen and the paper out of my hand, and I just kind of looked at it because everybody was like arguing over. There was too many people there, and I'm like, the paper's right there. I'm like, I'm next. Just literally just snatched it, just went like this, and I looked at him and because like when the last time I got into a fight in jail, it was over a bread bag. Not a loaf of bread. There's no bread in there. Just a bag.
Just a bag.
Just a
It's
bag.
an empty bag.
Just
you
an
know?
empty bag. Because this is like a Ziploc bag. You can save your cereal. You can save your bread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
put
very
soap
valuable.
in there.
It's
Okay.
it's very rare to get.
Yeah.
And he snatched it from me and held it over me. And he was just like this. And I felt like a little kid, you know, when you're like holding something over your brother, and something in me just snapped, and I just hooked up on him. Because like in my head, I'm like, wow, everybody's watching.
Well, you're
this.
in jail. And
If I let this slide, I'm a bitch.
Yeah.
Right.
So
People
I
will be
just
taking stuff from
hooked
you all
off
the
on
time.
him.
Yeah.
I busted his nose and his mouth. We ended up like grappling a little bit, but the guard heard something, so they broke it up. And then like when that guy like snatched the paper out of my hand, it was almost my first instinct because I'm like, I started smelling whole wheat bread, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm fucking hook off.
yeah.
But like I just kind of snatched it back from him. I'm like, I looked at him and I snatched it back, and I was like, try that shit with them. Don't try that shit with me.
Yeah, yeah. Do
Like,
it
I
to
just-
the nerds. Do it to
No,
the
I didn't know.
nerds.
Not
Yeah,
even like that. I'm
yeah.
like, just don't.
No, do it to the white people.
No,
Don't
I
fuck-
wasn't
that-
saying
that's what
that.
you meant.
No, all right. I just want to say this. There was 2 female comics that
Do it to the women.
that cut him,
Uh-huh.
and then he, you know what I mean? And
So they emasculated him already.
yeah, so
And
he
he's trying
felt
to
like
get
a
his balls
bitch,
back
and then
from
he
you.
thought he was gonna
Yeah.
let. So and then after the fact, I was like, fuck, I should have never like, even though I was reacting to the way because you don't snatch something out of somebody's hand.
Right,
That's
right.
like the
No.
worst thing you could do.
Right.
And then he just did it like right over a person, just went.
And he didn't know your trauma.
No, he did not.
He didn't
No.
know your trauma.
He didn't know about
And
that bread
you,
bag.
You and I spoke about this before too, where it's like, of all the people you'd want to fuck with, not even saying like we're bad guys, we're gonna do anything or anything like that, but why? This guy talks about stabbing people.
No, he doesn't. No, he didn't know me. I don't stab
Oh, he didn't know you
But
at all?
anyways,
All right.
he didn't know me. But then like I
But you're
de-escalated.
Latino. That's still
Yeah, that's-
inherently
here's like the-
dangerous.
Yeah.
Scar
yes.
on your neck should have said something. It's not a paper cut. It's not because somebody snatched a paper in my hand and didn't do anything.
Right.
But but like I caught myself. I'm like, well, it was just like a quick thing where
Right.
Yeah.
And then I caught myself. I'm like, wait, I'm in a club that I want to get into. I'm in a scene that I want to work in.
Right.
So I de-escalated it quick. I even went to him. I was like, yo, listen, here, you can take my spot. We'll switch. Like,
Oh, that's nice.
yo, and I apologized. Like, listen, even though he was in the wrong for snatching it,
Yeah.
I can get why he was frustrated because he felt like all these people were cutting him, I guess. But and he said it too. He was just like, yo, I'm surprised how quick you de-escalated that. Because in my head, I thought about it. I was like, I've been in
Emotional
this
intelligence,
situation
baby.
so many times, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fuck up this comedy thing. What I really want to do and what's saving me from all that shit
Right.
over a fucking basically an open mic at a club.
How bad did you want to physically assault him? Be honest.
No, it left. It was just a quick thing.
came up quick and went away?
It went away right away because I knew. I'm like, oh, this he's not like that type of guy. He was just
You let
in
it
the
go
heat of the
quick.
moment. Yeah,
See,
I let it go.
need to get back to that.
Yeah.
Because I
But
felt
this is what's great about it, right? So I gave him an earlier spot. I'm like, here, you can go 6th, I'll go 10th, whatever.
And then he walked
And
half the
he
fucking
walked
club.
half the fucking crowd. And I was just like,
perfect button.
yes.
Yeah, good job, Gio.
Yeah.
And everybody was making
And
fun
then-
of him
and then they
for
made it-
switching spots.
They're like, Gio, you could have saved the show. What's wrong with you? Why would you give him the
hilarious.
spot? And I enjoyed it. I was like, great. As soon as he got on, like halfway into the set, he just fucking walked out the crowd.
Yeah, you would have been off threatening to kill him.
I
yeah,
should have just beat him up. And
Well, I even had something like somebody, another comic said something to me one day, and there was a bunch of people around, and I felt like, I was like, oh, this son of a bitch, but there were so many people around, I'm like, I'm not going to handle it now. So then the next time I saw him, which was a few days later, I was like, I just want to let you know the way you spoke to me the other day is inappropriate, and I'm not going to let you talk to me that way. I'm going to remind you not to speak like that. And he was like, you need to just let shit go. And part of me was like,
He's right.
He's right, but why the fuck would you speak to me that way of all the people? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like you should fucking tread light around me, but I feel like I'm a nice guy, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
very
usually,
nice.
He's trembling when I say,
I'm like,
very nice.
Oh,
Yeah, you're perfect.
I don't know if there's anything bad about you, Derek.
Yeah, but
Why your teeth are out?
my teeth, I'm not wearing them anymore.
But
I
like
wanna be
you've
real.
been in comedy 20+ years. You've seen so many people come and go. Like the comics who are more confrontational instead of the
They
ones
don't
who are
stick
just
around,
like,
right?
all right, just go with the flow.
Yeah.
They have more trouble, right? I'm guessing
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of them. And then people all tell stories about him, like, this guy's crazy. And, oh, I have a story like that. Yeah, he's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's best to just be like, I think you need to have boundaries, but also be like not completely crazy. Yeah.
And what you give me, and completely crazy would be like physically assaulting them.
Yeah.
Things like that.
There's not a lot of stories
Well,
of like
threatening too.
Threatening is
yeah.
bad too.
There's not a lot of stories of like Bill Burr and Kevin Hart and Louis C.K. being like, "I'll fucking kill you, you piece of shit." Yeah, like
Lewis snatching a list out of somebody's hand.
yeah. And so yeah, I think
All right, so that's our. I mean, I already, as a 41-year-old man and somebody who's like involved heavily in reform and recovery, it's wild to me because I really had like a good grip on things. I'll never say I ever figured anything out completely because you continue to grow and things change. You know, it's like even staying clean. It's like I just know that today is what matters the most. If I was a bet man, I'd maybe bet on myself for tomorrow too. But it's more about today. But like. And I can't blame this on comedy at all. But like, I feel like, when you're out there trying, getting up, going here, going on the road or writing, whatever it is, like, I've probably slacked off on some self-care things that I should have been doing. And that's when like old character defects or old attitudes and behaviors will start to pop up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolabsolely.
Yeah.
No, you
Sounds
got to
like
put all
you're-
that shit first.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're trying to convince your parole officer of something right now.
No.
I'm changed. I'm telling you.
I am a
Nah,
changed
fuck
man for sure. No, but you're right. I could make a split-second decision where so many people could be like, "See, we told you. We told you he would never change."
What I love about Derek though is like he's around me and so many other like people who smoke weed and drink, and he'll just never touch it. The most you see him was a little Heineken Zero, and I'm like, I like that.
I can't do that now.
I'll
too,
get
'cause
that
I'm keto.
because my only thing has been the weed. Like I don't have a drinking problem because like my family are all alcoholics, so. And then like I have stomach problems from drinking when I was like a teenager.
Right.
So like when I drink, if I drink every day, it fucking hurts after like 2-3 days in a row.
Right.
So like that stopped me, but like the weed has only been the hardest thing. And I feel like those things.
Yeah,
these things are fucking.
these are bad too.
These are the devil.
Yeah. How long you been stopped drinking, Joe?
10 in a few months. End of 2012 is when I stopped. So I just celebrated 10 years 3 months ago.
Do you feel comfortable? And then we'll get out of here talking about like what the switch was for you. Like fuck this or no?
Was it
Yeah,
shitting
no,
in the
I was.
shoe?
There was a lot of shit. I was shitting. I kept going for years after that. Though I was a maniac.
That wasn't it. That
I was a fucking mess. No, I mean, I shit in a girl's shoe. I fell through a table. I would break things. I hated myself. My career was nowhere. I just really hated myself. But the last thing was, my brother-in-law, his father had just died. It was right before Christmas, and I was like making jokes about it. I was like, giving him, your dad, you're fine. And he was just looked so upset. And he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." I just felt like, like that thing. You're like, I think I'm being funny, but I'm not. I have no money. And then also like all my Christmas gifts were alcohol. Like it just became a thing of like I was the alcohol guy, and I just felt like a fucking mess. I just hated myself, and I was a vandal lunatic. I would just run around like a crazy person. So
You
I just
told a
wasn't-
story one time about how I don't know if you told it on the podcast or not, but you got into some festival or a competition. Was this the day you shit in
Yeah,
the
it's like
shoe?
shit. Yeah, I flew across the country with shit all over my pants and my leg and stuff.
And then you went up and did well.
I went up, did well. I like came in first place that night, and then
You're
I
like,
had to
I'm
take
gonna
a
keep
shower.
this fucking
yeah,
thing.
and I had to shower, and I was literally like pulling shit out of my leg hair and stuff.
Wow.
It was bad. I got herpes and all this crazy shit. I was just, it was just bad. And I had to take care of it. So yeah, it's been 10 years now, and 100% of my success came in sobriety.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
That's fucking.
relationship and career and all that stuff. Yeah.
Now,
I'm gonna take a weed break soon.
did you?
yeah, take
I
it.
think I need one.
Did you?
I thought you meant right now, like you're gonna go.
Take a food break. Did you? Did you have to do it medically or no?
No, I was I was all right. I just
Mental.
yeah, I was just a mess. But I was hungover. I always talk about this. I'm like, for 10 years, I was either drunk or hungover or drinking.
Right.
I was on my way. Like, I either felt like shit or I was drinking or I was drunk. It was never. I never had like.
Do you ever get the shakes? Did you ever get to that point where you stopped and you were shaking? And...
I would. My hands shook all the time. Like I think from the partly sugar and all that stuff. But when I quit, I wasn't like I was like detoxing or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't have to deal with that.
Oh, so
Too bad.
You wasn't like that far bottom.
No. I would drink. I mean, like I drank at night. I wasn't like waking up. I would drink in the morning sometimes, but it wasn't like I was drinking like pints of vodka. But when I drank, I would drink rum and coke. I'd drink 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 rum and cokes. I was the kind of guy that's like, if I had 3 beers and a shot, I'd be like, I took last night off. I didn't really drink last night.
It was late night.
I had a couple beers and a shot. Yeah. So it was, I blacked out a lot of brownout, blackout.
Brownouts and
A lot of that,
pants.
a lot of that stuff where people were like, "Remember you were on top of the thing?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, fuck, I did climb on the car and jump on it. At driving drunk and all that fucking nonsense."
When was it for you? When did you? Were you like, I'm done with heroin?
I went to jail.
That was it.
Yeah.
That was the last
I went
time?
to jail. Well, no, I did relapse again when I got out.
On heroin?
Yeah, it was 2016, but it was only like a month run, and then at that point, because I came home from the 2 years, the last time I went to jail, and I was like, oh shit, I don't got anything. My baby mother left me. I didn't have a job. I was sleeping on a futon in my old room, which is my little brother's room now. So I was just like, I'm like fucking living so uncomfortable, and like my little brother's telling me what to do. He's like, hey man, you fucking don't do this, and I'm like, it's fucking terrible. And then they told me like, hey, you want to go to Alabama for a bit? And I went down there for 3 years.
I had
Started comedy.
Yeah, I overdosed.
Joined the Klan, met some fun people. You know what I mean?
They're misunderstood.
Yes. They have a Latino chapter now. It's called KKK.
That's cool.
That's hilarious.
Did you just come up with that?
That's fucking
Yeah,
great,
that's
Gio.
not
That
a
was
joke.
really good. KKK.
I feel like some fucking George Lopez probably has a joke right there.
Dude, that's really good.
KKK.
I overdosed, and I continued to use for months after that, probably about 7, 8 months. But I wasn't using like as ferociously as I was, and I had a car, and I fucking sold it for $200.
You were
Wow.
better off scrapping it for metal.
$200. I mean, that's what I did. I scrapped it for metal, and
200.
I was sitting on a fucking on the fucking park bench, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? I called my father. I was like, you gotta take me somewhere. And then like I had some more struggles. I had to go to jail again and all that
You
shit.
saw
but
open mic at that park and was like, hey, I should do comedy.
Well, I used to do it. I was doing them when I was younger, and then yeah, I eventually found my way back. I will not say that comedy is why I'm clean though right now. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
Why?
Because
That's the reason I'm clean. I probably would have, because I almost relapsed
That's
again
bad.
in Alabama.
That's bad, dude.
And
Joe, tell him.
I went to do Molly. I went to do Molly and then found out, like, from these girls, I was
Like
it
you
was
can't do 5 if you're on Molly.
Yeah,
And you were like,
and
all
then-
right, I won't do it.
No, because this is before I had like signed up for this open mic at Stardome in Birmingham, and then it was like a week away, and I went to do Molly. Well, what I thought was Molly, and I found out it was meth.
Oh,
And I was
Jesus.
like, I was awake for like 5 days.
Yeah, meth is the worst.
Yeah, and like by that time, I think I did coke twice down there. I was hanging out with like like drug dealers and going like these parties. And I was like, fuck, I'm on my way back to that same shit. And then after that meth thing happened, I did the comedy a week later, and then that just kept me off. I was like, oh fuck, I have a purpose now.
Yeah, but comedy doesn't keep you clean now.
Yes, it does.
For real?
Because I said I almost relapsed again in Alabama, and because I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like I was like, I hate this working 9-to-5 shit. Like,
Well, I
hated
think it
my
might
life.
have been. It might have helped you in
was
the beginning, but
clean,
you
I
think
was
it's
good.
it's definitely not. You do so many other good things, bro. You're like fucking.
Not even my daughter. I look at my daughter. I want to get high. I want to do heroin when I look at it. No, I'm
Joe,
joking, I'm
tell
joking.
everybody where they can find you.
ComedianJoeList.com, at Joe List Comedy on Instagram, and check out my YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube if you can. I'm putting another special out on there. I got one out there now. And
Great specials.
thank you. And then April 15th, Wilbur Theater in Boston. I don't know when this comes out, but
Tomorrow. It's at midnight. It comes out.
oh, great. All right. I'm in Salt Lake City next weekend, and then Tampa May 4th to the 6th, and Tempe May 11th to the 13th.
And then we have 23-1 Comedy, April 25th at the Stand. You can get tickets at thestandnyc.com. If you're going to be in New York around that time and you want to come to the show, let me know. I'll hook you up with tickets. And then I will be at City Winery, April 8th with Max Manikoff. And then the Dania Improv, April 26th, also with Max. And subscribe to the Patreon. We need money.
Yes. You still won't get anything, but support us.
Go ahead, G.
All right. I will be at, let's see, Norwalk, Connecticut, April 20th. And then I will be at Laugh It Up in Poughkeepsie, April 21st with Karen Feehan and Micah Fox. And, yeah, that's it.
Natalie, tell everybody where they can find you.
Natalie DeChico edits on Instagram, and watch Gas Digital now on the Gas Digital exclusive YouTube channel.
And shout out Dylan for your first day.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
All right,
This was great.
Thank you.
We're done.
Peace.
Thank you, Joe.
Hey, thank you. That was
Appreciate
fun.
you.
That was great. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed listening and participating also.